So welcoming Chairman Shahid Azim, our new manager Danny Searle, his assistants Anwar,
So, I'm going to try and sell myself. I need to maybe ask my missus about that one first. She might not be too happy about that, but I'll do my best. So, before I start, firstly, from myself and the Blackmore staff, it was an offer that we couldn't turn down. You've got a fantastic football club here, and when you're working in a football environment, I've been fortunate to work with a lot of clubs, and something about the place that you go to gives you an opportunity to buy into it. And when I sat down with the board, despite how hard a time they seem to get, I bought into them and they bought into me. So if you want to ask any questions, I'm an open book, so you please feel free and do your worst, I suppose. It's a bit of I mean, there's obviously been quite a lot said about me on social media, so a lot of you probably know quite a bit about me anyway, but my background, I've been in football my whole life, as a player, as a coach. I've worked at Southend, Charlton, Chelsea, West Ham. Yes, all of those clubs was within the development part with academies and working up to the age of 23s. I think that when you're working with footballers, regardless of whether they're 23, 13 or 33, one thing that you've got to build is a bond. You've got to build a rapport, and you've got to give the players the insight that you're going to build something together. And one thing that, regardless of whatever league we're in, that we're trying to sell at the moment is we want players that want to play for Aldershot Town Football Club. They're not going to be asking me about salaries, they're not going to be asking me about what league we're in. They've got to buy into what we're selling as a football club. And when you've been in environments that I've been in, you kind of worked under some very, very good people. And some bad people, to be fair, and that's helped formulate a philosophy for me that's worked in my short spell. When I was at Braintree Town manager, we put a good run of games together, which obviously enabled me the opportunity to sit down with the board of this football club, and I'll be grateful for that, and always will be. And I've left some good friends there, and they will always be friends, and that's kind of what I'm trying to build. I'm trying to build a family, players that want to play for you as the fans. Players that will do everything they can possible to make sure that you guys hopefully go home at 5 o'clock, or judging by some of you at the bar, probably 8 o'clock on a Saturday, and that you're happy and you're not kicking too many cats and dogs on your way in. The work ethic that we bring is going to be second to none, and I will go toe to toe with anyone in this league with regards to that. The training program we've put together, the board have backed me with a full-time program. That's why I've brought the likes of Anwar in. Anwar's knowledge and ability to not only have played at this level, but coached and managed at this level. His knowledge of players from a recruitment perspective as well. He's a massive asset to the club. And I've also announced Dave Blackmore today, who's had a great career himself from a goalkeeping perspective, and he's someone that I trust as well, and is going to come in with the same work ethic and attitude. I think that having played against Aldershot a couple of times last season, I think that you've got a great foundation of players here, and you've got a great foundation of a club to get yourselves back to where you rightly should be, which should be in the Football League. I think with our expertise that we bring to the table from a recruitment perspective, but most importantly from a work ethic perspective, because a lot of players in this league talk about full-time and their Instagram and their Snapchats and their Twitters tell you that they're all professional football players. If you're going to play for this football club, you are going to be a professional football club. You're not walking in at 10 and then leaving at 12:30. It's not how it's going to work here. We're going to be a full-time football club. The gym programs, we've got yoga instructors coming in, and that's going to light a few eyes up, yeah. But that is how we're going to work. The analysis, everything that's going to be at our disposal from a sort of resources perspective is going to be utilised. You've got an unbelievable military setup over here that we've got carte blanche to use, and we're going to use it. And the players that come to this club have to buy into that just as much as they have to buy into the fact they're going to be playing in the National League. We are in talks with a lot. I feel, do you know what, being a manager or taking over a club that actually only had 2 players left, I feel a bit like Simon Cowell on Britain's Got Talent. Yeah, my trousers are not quite as high, but no, we've got a massive pool of players that we're looking at, and from my perspective, again, we're meeting the player first, and it's not about dealing with agents. Myself, Anwar and Dave spent quite a lot of time in London last week meeting with players, and we want to find out a bit about them as people first, because there's some very talented lads out there, but they don't fit what we're trying to do, and there has to be a camaraderie amongst the team to make sure that when things aren't going your way, they're willing to roll their sleeves up and they're in for a fight, because that's what this league is, it's a fight, and to get out of it we need to make sure we've got the right characters in. And have we got a list of players that are ready to come in? It's not bad, it's not bad. I think there'll be a few announced very soon. Not massive. I'm just the same with my backroom staff. I don't believe in having too many people around the building. I think messages get watered down. It creates a mercenary kind of environment where people are kind of backstabbing each other and whatnot. We want a real sort of 17, 18, maybe 19, depending on the quality of the player and the person, the squad that's going to actually, they all travel together, we're all together. I don't like the 23s, 24-man squads where 4 or 5 get left at home on a Saturday. That's not going to create an environment where people are going to want to be. I think we have to utilise the loan market because it's a no-brainer. You can deal with top clubs. Fortunate with the 3 people that are sitting here in front of you, we've got very good connections at a lot of academies, and they trust, and I don't mean this to sound arrogant at all, but they trust me, they know me as a coach, they know that we'll still work and develop the player even though they're playing men's football. So we'll get the higher end of the loan market as opposed to the token gestures that they just want out of the building. %. I've just sat and had a meeting with Ross. I think one of the things that I sold to the board was there has to be a pathway. What? We had that before. Sorry? We had that once before. It shouldn't be a one-off thing. If we get the relationship right between the academy and the first team, there has to be a pathway. And what better way to recruit players than on your doorstep? Because I don't have to speak to agents. They know the club culture. They know the environment. And but also if you're a local lad in this community, it's a fantastic community. I've mentioned that several times in interviews that I've done. It's a great community, and you want something that people are proud of. And if you've got some of your local lads that are turning out week in, week out. Is that me? Maybe I swore and it just blew. But basically, the ideal blend for a club of this size is you've got to have the experienced players that have played at this level and maybe a little bit of a level above. You want hungry young players that have got a point to prove. You utilise the loan system to make sure you bring in top quality talent, and then most importantly, you can build that spine up with local homegrown players. I mean, the boys have been out in Belgium this week and they've done a fantastic job. I think the under-13s won their tournament, and I was listening to some of the accolades that have been given to our academy this year. The under-19s won is it the Premier League Cup? Yeah, the Premier League with the BR. Yeah. So, I mean, why would I not look at those guys? And it's an absolute no-brainer for us. We've met with several players over the last probably 10 days. We've got meetings with another 3 or 4 tomorrow. It's difficult because we've researched the footage, we've used the analysis that's available to us to have a look at the games, not just the games that I actually watched players playing last year, but other games. And yeah, there's interest. Everyone I've spoken to so far wants to re-sign. So from my perspective, that's a positive. To put the other side of it, to play devil's advocate, I need to spend a little bit more time with them to make sure that they're the sort of people that actually are going to fit into what we want to do. Because with all due respect to everything that went on last season, at some point something went wrong. And for these players were involved in that. Now, whether it's they didn't buy into the manager, whether it's they thought they were better than what they were, whether they just sort of put their slippers on and were all ready to go to the beach early, I don't know, but we need to get to the bottom of that. But everyone we've spoken to so far is interested in coming back to the football club. It's now down to us to decide whether we actually want them around. It went very well, thank you. I'm not so sure Lee Bowie's ready to give over those apron strings yet. Now, I worked at Charlton for nearly 6 years, and obviously it was a chance for me to go and say a lot of the boys that were involved in the squad I've worked with, Josh Cullen, Lewis Page, Alvin Morgans, etc. So it was good to go and catch up. Plus, Charlton are a club that I know produce good players, so they are a loan option for us, and it was about putting a pool of players together that once Lee Bowie's decided what he wants to do with the first team next season, we've got a first refusal on those players that maybe are not in and around their first team.
So I'm Dave, or Blackers, whatever you like. My background really is, as Dan said, previously professional at West Ham, straight out of school, 5 years there, a year at Charlton, a year at Crystal Palace, and then non-league from there, so the likes of Braintree, Thurrock, a few others along the way. And then just at sort of 23 years old, found other things to do, had to build a life, started my own business. I felt that coaching really was my passion, wanted to give a little bit back, do a lot in the community from where I'm from, back in Essex. And yeah, I mean, worked with the local West Ham academies, started to, obviously knew Danny from the West Ham Academy, and I was also in that setup, working closely with their younger goalkeepers. Still very close with ex-goalkeeper coaches that I still speak to regularly. My coach was, if there's any West Ham fans here, Ludo Klosko, who was probably a West Ham legend, right? So had a good grounding, but yeah, coaching was my passion in the end. Done my badges, ended up 2 years ago at Braintree Town in the Conference South. Obviously, come up through the playoff route. Won on penalties against Hampton and Richmond, and then stayed with the coaching staff, obviously in the National League last season. Last season was probably, for me, the biggest test for, we had to recruit a new goalkeeper. Ended up with what I believe was the best goalkeeper in the league, in Ben Kidd, England's city boy, who today has just gone to Hartlepool. But for me and the rest of the coaching staff and players was probably the best goalkeeper out there. And had a good look, had a good season with him throughout the season. We had some, worked with a couple of lone goalkeepers. Ben got injured. Had some lone goalkeepers in, worked with some really good guys from the likes of sort of Reading and elsewhere. But as I say, my full-time role was to work with Ben, develop the first team goalkeepers. Also had a hand in our academy at the time. Our reserve goalkeepers used to train, and like a big mix of goalkeepers in my sessions. So we work hard. We have fun, but they're always big groups of goalkeepers, so we can get a lot done. And as I say, that's been my journey right up until Danny took over full time in January. Worked much closely with Danny on not just goalkeeping, but other aspects of the role. And I'm a Braintree, I'm from Braintree originally, so for me, it was really a great opportunity to work with the guys down there. And yeah, I mean, as I say, my move, with Danny is to follow Danny and Anwar. Obviously, spoke with Dan last week regarding this opportunity. And for me, I played against Aldershot in the past. I played here for West Ham against Chelsea reserves. I know the club, I know the stadium. Huge history, huge club, and for me and my development as a young coach, it was a no-brainer. So. Yeah, so my role will be to obviously work with Danny and Anwar closely, but develop our goalkeepers internally here, obviously recruit a new first team goalkeeper, which we're looking at options already. and also help to bring through our academy goalkeepers, under 23 goalkeepers, and get them around me and the first team guys. If that explains what I saw about. Cool.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Uddin. Very happy to be here as part of the management staff. I'll give you a very brief history on me. West Ham from 13 to the age of 20. I bought a flat when I was 20 years old and I got my keys. I went into training with a big smile, and Harry Redknapp pulled me in the office and told me he sold me to Sheffield Wednesday. So I didn't even have one night. So I went there for 3 months, and then Terry York pulled me in the office and told me that the ITV digital deal's collapsed and he can't give me a contract. So I went to Bristol Rovers, ahead of Swansea, who at the time were telling me they were going to end up in the Premier League and have a big stadium, but I chose to go to Bristol Rovers. I did 2 years there, got a really bad injury, and I thought, you know what, this isn't always cracked up to be. But I found myself in Dagenham and Redbridge in the National League. John Steele signed me for Bristol Rovers. I was there 2 years, and he said to me, listen, I know you've had some bad luck, but I believe in you. So I captained Dagenham from the age of 22 to 29, and I took them from the National League to League One in 6 years. I had some amazing battles here at Aldershot, and it's a funny club for me because I've always had good times against you lot. I don't want to mention it again because I've already bored these two. I didn't score much, and I scored a great goal against Aldershot, which I'm good. When we won the league at Dagenham, the day we clinched the title was against Aldershot, 2-1 at the Daggers. I just want to get it out of the way. But I went to. I loved it at Dagenham. I was a bit of a legend there and been there for years. And John Steele said to me, "Let's stay here as long as you like." But I chose to leave just for a new challenge because I felt like I needed it. I went to Barnet, and that sort of was the point where I fell in love with management because I was injured as club captain, and Martin Allen pulled me in the office and said to me, "Listen, I've got a job here." I spoke to my West Ham contacts and they said, "You're a good guy, I want you to be my first team coach." I was like, brilliant. So, because I was injured, I couldn't play, I started to do all the coaching, I was doing my badges. I took all the first team sessions with Martin Allen, which was an unbelievable experience. And then one day he called me in the office at 8:30. He always made me get in really early, which annoyed me. But at 8:30, he sat down and he said, "Right, I'm going to Notts County, are you coming?" I said, "What do you mean? I've got 2 years left of my contract." He said, "Well, I'm going. So if you want to stay, you can stay, but I'm going." And he left, literally just left the room. The chairman walked in and said, "We're bottom of the league, the manager's just left, we've got 3 months to go, what are we going to do?" And I just thought, let me do it. So I took over as assistant manager. I brought in Giuliano Grazioli, who I played with at Bristol Rovers. 3 months later, we stayed up on the last day of the season by a point. And I fell in love with coaching and management then, and I really, really enjoyed it. And that was a tough ask. We kept a club in a football league. The next year I was a player, had another year, but then at Rotherham, Tuesday night, I broke my ankle, and I kind of like put an end to my career. I tried to come back at Eastbourne Borough and Sutton, but really, really struggled. But then that was it for me. I wanted to develop as a coach and manager because I had that sample and I had success and I enjoyed it. So I started doing my coaching badges, which led me to West Ham United, which is where I met Danny Searle. And for me, I'm a sponge. I want to learn. I love a challenge. And working with coaches like Danny improved me. And I went on to managing coach at different levels in non-league. John Steele called me up. Well, he called me up every single club he went to because he always wanted to get me in. But I ended up going to Maidstone with him last year for a couple of months, and had a great time. And we were preparing for the new season. Recruitment, coaching, looking at how we can get back up because again, another big club. And then Saturday morning, I got a call from Danny Searle. And to be honest, it wasn't a big decision because, like I said, there's something about me in this club and the prospect of working with Danny, the community, the fan base, the atmosphere. I just got excited and I thought if we can get this place rocking, what an amazing place to be. So I'm privileged to be here and looking forward to some more times with Aldershot, but this time for Aldershot as opposed to against Aldershot.
Just while Chris is making his way through there, I've got a question for you guys. So forget the obvious 3 points on a Saturday and a Tuesday, albeit. What do you want to see from the players? Okay, so although women say men can't multitask, right? I heard 5 or 6 things. You talk about commitment, entertainment, all these kind of attributes that you want that not necessarily lend themselves to football, to be fair. They lend themselves to every aspect of life. You're talking about people in work environments. Our philosophy as a start from what we're going to make sure that it's got is everything that we possibly can do that doesn't affect the pitch, in the sense of not affect the pitch, doesn't result in what happens with regards to how the players play with their technique. You will get hard work. They will work. If they ever have a poor performance, which I'd be an idiot to stand here and say they're never ever going to perform poorly again. Because if I could do that, then I would probably be. I'll be after. Is it Zidane? That bald geezer? Yeah. I'd probably have a little go at his job. But from my perspective, what you'll see is when the players aren't necessarily performing with regards to the actual football, you will not see our team work harder this season. And if they don't buy into that, they won't survive here. Because the bottom line is, from our perspective, is the club went down for a reason, just like every club goes down for a reason. Everyone can say they've got great players, they've got this. Well, generally, when you pick away the skin, and you peel away those layers, it's an underlying thing that's gone wrong. And generally, it's the psychological side of things, it's the social side of things. It's nothing to do with technique. It's to do with the mentality of the pitch. He's hungry, he wants to get on well. I've not brought him in to be my assistant manager for the rest of my life. I've brought him in because he wants to be a manager. And if I can be a part of helping that journey, I take great pride in that. He wants to work at the highest level we possibly can. If I can help with that, and then that's the kind of development process we want to see. But to do that, they have to buy into the work ethic. They have to buy into that. And as I said to you, we will be working tirelessly to make sure that we can hopefully deliver what you want to see on the football pitch. Sorry?
What do you want to see from us?
Do you know what? I mean, you're the fans. You're the lifeblood of the club. So, and it's hard when your team gets relegated. It's football's a very emotive sport, and when you're not doing well, it's easy to lose faith. It's easy to lose patience, and I think that we are putting a brand new squad together. Even if we did manage to keep several of the players that were here last season, the main crux of the squad are going to be new. So patience is going to have to be a key. You're going to need to give the team time to bed in. All being well and good, to see pre-season does what it needs to do, and we hit the ground running. But we just want what you've done. Look how many of you are here. You averaged over 1,800 fans a week last year in the relegation season. You're a loyal group of people, and I wouldn't ask any more than that. Just be loyal. And we're approachable people. I'd rather you came and asked me a question in the bar or wherever it would be, and than take it out on the players, because the bottom line is the players are products of their environment, and it's down to us to make sure the environment's right for them.